When talking about innovation, it's very easy that people think only about ideation and think about great ideas and think how we are going to change the world, how we are going to make the greatest thing ever. But the reality is that ideas without execution are pretty much nothing. Hey, Juan here. In today's video, I wanted to talk about how can you actually be more innovative at work. And there is some pressure to be more innovative all the time at work, and that's something that's sometimes not so easy understood by people when you just get thrown this up. Just be innovative and move forward and change the world and change the way that we offer products to our customers. So let's go through some of these things in this video. So first of all, one of the things that you want to try to do when you want to be innovative is just try to do things differently. And it's easier said than done. You typically do things always in the same way. If you don't get into a frame of mind to be that you are able to change or to adapt all the time, to change the ways that you work, just to be more productive, more effective, work better with others, offer better solutions to your customers. If you're not able to do this, you're going to be having a hard time to be innovative. Most of the times when people want to be innovative, what they do is that they try to see what others are doing within the same industry and try to potentially copy. But potentially that's not the best way to be innovative, because then you're just basically copying what others are doing. But what about if you are looking to what other industries are doing, what research projects out there are happening that actually could impact your customers and benefit your customers, benefit the industry you're working in. Many times, some of those technologies are not adapted right away in all the different industries. That's very natural, actually. You can see it all the time. Many things that were already adopted by some industries back in the 90s are still coming through some other industries nowadays. So just think about the adoption of software technologies and adoption of AI. Those are things that are happening in industries very differently, depends on which industry you are in. So yeah, this is still copying potentially others, but potentially many of the things that we end up doing anyways in our work are either copied, inspired by others. When talking about innovation, it's very easy that people think only about ideation and think about great ideas and think how we are going to change the world, how we are going to make the greatest thing ever. But the reality is that ideas without execution are pretty much nothing. If you are not able to deliver on the innovation that you're thinking about, if you're not able to actually achieve it, if you don't have something that is meaningful that can be achieved within a reasonable time frame, then potentially that innovation is not something that is going to have a huge impact on your customers in the very short term. Think about potential innovations. Well, we all would like to have time travel. It's awesome. Why not? Or just being able to teleport ourselves to the other side of the planet would make traveling on holidays so much easier than they are nowadays. The reality is that we are not there. The reality is that yes, that's a great idea potentially, but what is the solution? How am I able to execute on that idea? Well, I can't. So ideas without being able to execute them and execute in a reasonable time and way, they are not going to be very good for anybody. Although they are going to be really cool to think about and brainstorm. So when talking about execution, what you have to know is that you have to be able to define your POC, your proof of concept, and also your MVP, your minimum viable product. How are you going to be able to achieve them in a reasonable way? So define those milestones and be able to execute on them and deliver those to your customers. Another thing that is going to help innovation is sometimes just working in a different environment where you typically do. So you typically are going to be working in the office with the co-workers, potentially in a sitting down station, maybe from home, depends on the times and depends on what kind of hybrid way of working your company is going for in the future after the COVID times. But you want to take a look into potentially going into an area, an environment that is actually going to help you think differently from what you typically are doing in your everyday job. Try to find others that will help you develop your ideas. Others that can bring different points of view, but they have also this innovative mindset on their own. This is going to help you ideate faster, understand potential implications, and understand the viability of your innovation idea. The next one is going to be think about the companies that you like or products that you like to use. How do they do things? How do they do things different from others? Pretty much usually any company that you like or product that you like is going to do things slightly different from the rest, or something that is going to differentiate them big time. So how are you going to be able to leverage those things and try to potentially take some of those ideas and develop them further within your products. So you might be a fan of Apple, the iPhone, or any of their products, or you might really like Amazon and the way that they are actually doing the online shopping experience. So how could you take some of the ideas of how they are doing certain things and potentially take advantage within your products? If you think about Apple, it's relatively straightforward. Think about design, think about very easy and friendly products to be used by the customers. Although innovation is most about how you are trying to help users to make their life easier, how you are making your products in a different way, or how you are taking advantage of latest technologies. What you have to have in order to be innovation is to have the right frame, and it's good to have regular time slots or innovation days that are actually going to promote this innovation within your company. So one of the funny things with innovation is that many times companies are potentially going to think that, well, they don't have time to get people to innovate. They don't have time to dedicate for engineers, for different people working in different technologies to actually spend the time and think about these potential innovations that could be taken advantage by the companies. For example, how you're going to make your users' life better. But there's lots of documentation out there about how big companies, really big companies, have created some very big products out of innovation days, out of actually promoting innovation within their companies. Potentially the best example is Google's 20% time for innovation or your own projects. What Google was promoting at that point is not something that Google necessarily developed on their own, it's something that has happened before that Google at that time. 20% of the time could be used for your own projects. And actually out of these, there were several big products that came out to life. One of them was Gmail and another one was AdSense. So these were personal projects from certain people within the company. So you can see that there's real value on promoting innovation to actually discover good opportunities, business opportunities, product opportunities for your company. Another good example is Atlassian's Ship It days, where they actually dedicate also 20% of the time for working on their own projects. The reality is that these projects have been discontinued, they don't work as they used to, maybe they don't work at all. The fact is that the companies, when they were promoting this kind of innovation, there were tangible outcomes to those innovation days, letting people work on their own projects that would actually bring value to the company. So yeah, most of the cases, most of the company are not going to be able to afford like a 20% time that somebody could just dedicate to work on their own projects. But the point here is that there is a real benefit to the company when promoting innovation within the workplace. And actually then companies are going to benefit from those employees who actually are trying to do things in different ways all the time. This is going to be promoting innovation all the time within the company. And actually this is what you want to achieve, not just as a company, but also as a team. This is the way that you can actually be able to differentiate yourself from the rest and actually make sure that what you're building is not based on how things have been always done in the past. You are actually promoting people to do things in a different way. So what are your innovation policies in your company? Is this something that it happens regularly? Is it something that actually the company doesn't promote at all and it just hopes that it happens? And yes, we talk about innovation, it's great, but realistically nobody is actually driving that or helping promoting it. Let me know in the comments below. In another of my videos I talk about how to be creative in the workplace and how to promote this creativity also within the work. So I'll link it here so you can take a look to it. I will see you in the next video. And remember, stay safe.